In this lecture, we're now going to be looking into how we can style our text and our font. So, like I said, I've already prepared this now because I'm not going to sort of take you guys through the basics of setting up a HTML and a CSS file, but this is one I've just prepared for you guys. So as you can see, there are a few different things here compared to how we usually have it. As you can see, we have a nice background color here. We also have some coloring here and in the paragraphs. So you can see that this is a header, and it's actually in the middle of the page now, rather than to the left, how we've had it before. You can also see that the paragraph text is a lot bigger than a paragraph normally is. It's a different type of font. So let's have a look at what's going on here. So if you look at the CSS styling, we're going to start by talking about our text. So there are a number of different things you can do with text. The first one that I've already put up here is text align. So if I remove this, for example, you would see that this will go back to the normal left-hand side. So text align is a really helpful thing where you can choose left, right, justify or inherit, which we'll talk about later. So I select center though for now. As you can see, make sure you're spelling it T-E-R, not T-R-E. You can see it goes nicely right into the middle. So what I've done there is just use the text align. Now there are a lot of different things you can do with text as well. So for example, one thing we can do is something called text transform. So these are all the different things you could do: decoration, shadow, indent, overflow. We're just going to go for text transform for now. And these are our different options. So we could capitalize it all, for example. So if I go for that, you will notice that it doesn't do anything because it's already capitalized. If I were to change this to, for example, all being lowercase, then you will see, even though we have a lowercase here, there will still stay uppercase here. So one other thing we can do, instead of having capitalized, let's make it all uppercase. So if I do that, you'll see that it all becomes uppercase. Let's say we want, as you can see, the T is capitalized here, but if we add in text transform down here, and we will put it all in as lowercase, you will see that it all becomes lowercase. Fantastic. So now I'm actually going to write out the paragraph to be a bit longer. I'm just going to be very lazy and copy and paste this a lot of times. Okay. So as you can see, it goes on to new lines. Now let's say we actually wanted the space between the lines to be a bit larger. So what I'm going to do here is then add in line height, and let's have it as 30 pixels, just so you see how it's done. You can see it's not that different, but if I change it to 3px, for example, you might notice it looks a bit strange. So let's go for something a bit more reasonable. Let's go for 70 pixels. Okay, so you can see that it's now starting to look a bit better. Instead of line height, let's go for something called text indent. So what this is going to do is it's going to indent the first line. So let's put this as 80px. As you see here, it's nicely indented, which can be quite useful sometimes. So we can also have things like word spacing. There are just so many of these. I won't go over all of them, but I'm giving you a few of the useful ones. Word spacing, let's go for 30px just for fun. There you can see there's more spacing in between the words here. So those are most of the ones that I wanted to go over today. The other thing, of course, is font family. So you can see here, let me just remove this because it's quite distracting. As you can see, these two have different font families. So I've decided to put the paragraphs in as font family fancy. Now if I add a different one here, you can see all the different ones. You can just change the font size if you want, or the style, or the weight. We're just going to go for font family for now. Let's go for sans serif. There you go. So you can see that you can have a number of different font families, which is always very useful. And there are a wide range that you can search for and choose which one suits you. So to summarize what we've gone over today is we've looked into how you can change the text and the fonts, and you can do it in many different ways. and you can always use W3 Schools as a fantastic resource to see all the different things that you can do. Some of the main ones I've pointed out can include the font size, the font family, and things like the text align is very helpful, for example, especially when you've got a title going on. So those are just some of the things that you can do to play around with your text and your font. So have a go yourself, have a play, and then I'll see you in the next lecture.